We're in New Zealand today talking roses, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and Darlac. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, Jill and I are away in New Zealand at the moment, and one of the things that we can't resist doing when we're away is visiting other gardens. And I love the gardens in New Zealand. I think it's because they're basically like an English garden with so many different plants in them. And that's because when settlers came here 150 years ago, they would bring with them their favourite plants, and they grow very well, of course, in this lovely, mild, warm climate. So as well as the plants that we know in the UK, we get lots of what we deem as exotics, things like cannas and abutilons, the plants that we would grow in the garden in the summer, but of course in the winter we've got to give them frost protection. Here they thrive and grow really big specimens just like everything else. But New Zealand is also a great place to grow roses, and that's one of the things we want to look at today in this garden. The rose gardens here are at the front of Broadgreen, and this is the house that stands behind me that was built in the early 1850s by the Buxton family. They came across from Lancashire in England. It took them 8 months to get from England to New Zealand, and when they got here they acquired 100 acres of land and started literally from scratch and built this cob house, which is a mixture of clay and straw, and it's designed on a Devon farmhouse, and it's one of the few houses that you'll see in New Zealand that's actually got a slate roof. Most of them are tin roofs. It's absolutely beautiful and been restored inside. The house and what remained of the 100 acres were taken over by Nelson Council in the 1960s, and the rose garden that we see today was laid out in 1968, and it was designed by a famous New Zealand rose grower and breeder called Jim Samuels, and the garden itself is called the Samuels Rose Garden, where there are over 300 varieties of roses, many of which were bred in New Zealand. So I'm going to have a wander around and look at some of these fabulous roses. The rose garden is laid out more or less as it was back in 1968, although some of the planting has been changed over that time and new roses introduced. And they are in all different shapes, colours and sizes. We've got floribundas, we've got hybrid teas, we've got shrub roses and some climbing roses as well over the archways and up the brick pillars. And there's one which is my favourite, which is Iceberg, and I love Iceberg, which is available as a floribunda or a climber, and simply because it was the first rose I ever pruned as an apprentice gardener many years ago, so it's stuck with me. The maintenance here is pretty much as we do it in the UK. They are pruned in spring. There is irrigation because it does get quite hot here in the summer, and lots of deadheading is taking place as well. And to conserve the moisture, all the beds have got a bark mulch over them, and they seem to thrive in this environment. This particular one is one that's taken my eye, and it's one that I'm not familiar with, and I love it because the flowers on this, which is a floribunda, change as they mature. So the flowers open to quite a lovely buttercup yellow flower here, and they've almost got a semi-double look to them, but then the flowers as they mature take on a lovely pale yellow colour, and then their final stage, which is just here, is they're almost cream with this lovely pink flush to the edge of the petals, and I think this is absolutely fabulous. In fact, that's quite fitting because that is the name of this rose, Absolutely Fabulous. thank you for watching Pots and Trowels, and remember you can watch all the videos that we've done on YouTube where you can subscribe for free, and we'll be back again with you next week. So until then, bye bye.